Good morning, team. Happy Monday. No, it's not. It's Thursday. Happy Thursday. Hope you are doing well. Happy Monday. I'm so used to doing a long podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about fasted cardio. What's better for fat loss, fasted or fed cardio, and what you should be doing to lose the most amount of body fat. All right? So you've probably heard that fasted cardio burns more fat than fed cardio. And if you heard that, they are correct. But what you need to remember is that when it comes to fasted versus fed cardio, it's not about what fuel source is used during the workout. It's about what is creating a calorie deficit overall. So what I mean by this is like you can use two different fuel sources. You can use fat or carbohydrates. You can use them together. You can use one predominantly, or use one predominantly, I should say. So the lower your intensity, the more fat you're going to use. So for me sitting down right now doing nothing, I'm burning fat. For me going for a walk outside, I'm burning fat. For me doing a power walk, I'm burning fat. For me doing zone 2 work, which you've probably heard about, I'm burning fat. Then I'm predominantly burning fat. Then as I go more intense, I start to burn more and more carbohydrates. And as I reach my heart rate max, as I'm getting in that zone 5, that red zone, I am not using fat as a fuel source at all, and I'm using carbohydrates, okay? Now, it depends, sorry, I should actually say this. It depends on how long you're staying in that zone for with predominantly carbohydrates. Like if I sprint and I wouldn't say 30-second sprint. It's a 10-second sprint, 20-second sprint. I'm not going to use carbohydrates either. I'm just going to use ATP. Like just boom, immediately fucking go, all right? Like I'm going to use some carbohydrates, sorry, I should say, but the body is going to just basically use what we have available as ATP as an immediate energy source. However, again, when you're training more intensely and when you're going for longer periods of time at higher intensities, you're going to be burning predominantly carbohydrates. So then I want to ask you this question about what burns more fat overall, all right? Let's say I do an hour workout. The hour workout is either going to be me at 122 beats per minute, okay? So 122 beats per minute, which is zone 2, or an hour at 160 beats. I'll say 165 beats per minute, where it's predominantly carbohydrate. What do you think is going to burn more calories overall? A higher heart rate or a lower heart rate? A higher heart rate, right? Cool. I hope you said higher heart rate. But I just burned predominantly carbohydrates then. I didn't burn body fat. Sorry, I don't want to say I didn't burn body fat. I didn't burn fat. I just used predominantly carbohydrates. So what's going to happen now? Well, my body is still going to use body fat to be lost if I'm in a calorie deficit. If I eat those calories back, then I'm not going to lose anything. Because once I start to use my carbohydrate stores, afterwards, all right, I've depleted my carbohydrates, I've created a calorie deficit because let's say, for the whole day I burned 2,000 calories, okay? Then I've burnt an extra 700 calories on top of that from my cardio, right? My intense cardio. So now that I've created a 700 calorie deficit, the food I eat during the day is going to help replenish that muscle, the muscle glycogen, I should say, sorry, the carbohydrates that were lost. But then, because there's not enough fuel, it's going to come from body fat. So in that session, I'm not going to be burning fat or losing body fat right then and there. But for the rest of the day, I will be if I'm in a calorie deficit. Now, the same thing. If I do a fasted cardio for an hour and it's a low intensity cardio, I'm still going to use fat as a fuel source. But then if I eat, let's say I burn 400 calories and I eat 2,600 calories, then it doesn't matter that I did fasted cardio at all because I'm bringing in more energy than I burn throughout the day. All right? So what I'm trying to help you guys understand here is it doesn't matter which one you do. What matters overall is your total calorie burn. And whether you do fasted cardio or whether you have cardio with food in your stomach, it's not going to change anything. But in saying that, there is one little difference that I do like about fasted cardio, is that if you do fasted cardio in the morning, one, you do something called metabolic flexibility, where it teaches your body to use fat as a fuel source. Because people who are overweight, who don't move as much, and who are always sitting around, you actually have a lower respiratory ratio. RQ, I should say, respiratory quotient, which means you are using more carbohydrates, and that is actually not good because your bloodstream is high in carbohydrates, which is also not good. So to do fasted cardio is a good thing for people who are very overweight and who want to become metabolically flexible, so your body can learn to use fat as a fuel source and can use carbohydrates as a fuel source, okay? If you're someone who's overweight or you're always snacking, always eating carbohydrates, your body's going to predominantly try and use carbs as a fuel source, which is not bad, but if the body can't go back and forth between carbs and fats, you'll get hypoglycemic, you'll feel dizzy, you'll feel nauseous, and you can actually have a really, really fucking bad workout. And it's just bad for your body overall. So from a calorie fat burning point of view, it's not going to be any different, but I would recommend, if you have the opportunity, I'm not saying it's essential. If you have lower levels of body fat, then you're already going to be metabolically flexible, so don't worry about that. But if you can, and you're a little bit overweight, or a lot overweight, and you have the time to do cardio, and it's fasted, I would recommend doing it. Because again, it's going to benefit your health overall in the long run for metabolic flexibility. And that's the podcast. Very simple. Just want to help you guys understand that. If you have any questions, as always, you can message me on Instagram at tysonthetrainerr 2 Rs. And until next time, my friends, I'll speak to you then.